And we're now joined by the football correspondent, Peter of the Hyde, who's at the CAF Media Centre in Malabo. Peter, both Ivory Coast and Cameroon will be breathing a collective sigh of relief. Why do you think we've got average performances from these so-called top teams, starting with the Ivory Coast?
Well, I sometimes have a bit of a problem when people look at the performance of only one side and say they play it, in this case, average, as you've just put it. I think that would be a little bit unfair to the Guinean side, who played, I thought, really well. They came out of they came out strongly. They were all over the show, all over their opponents, and they did really well. And I think it's had more to do with the Guineans playing well than the Ivorian playing average or not well at all.
Maybe he was agreeing with you, but Yaya Toure said in his post-match interview, he said that games showed matches at AFCON are not easy. I mean, what do you think he meant by this?
I think what he meant really is, and this has been shown in the games, that there are no easy opponents. You know, you had the kind of 6-0, 5-0 results that you might have had years ago are simply not there anymore. The 16 teams that are here because they are the best in Africa, and I think that comes through. And you simply don't have an easy game. So for Toure, you know, I think, yes, the Ivorians would have wanted to start with a win and probably believed that they could win, but certainly they didn't go onto the field thinking, well, it's going to be a pushover in the park, because it certainly wasn't that. And I think that is something that people really, that the players from all sides know, that there are no simple games here.
Well, Peter, how disappointed will Mali be with the draw against Cameroon after virtually dominating the whole match?
Well, again, I mean, it's. I think it's a situation where, had you asked the Malians, would you like to take a point and not play the game, I'm sure they would have said, yes, we'll take the point. In hindsight, they would be disappointed that they didn't start, because I think that this leaves, obviously, them with a mountain to climb, just as it does Cameroon in that matter, with a mountain to climb if they want to go through. But I think Mali, in hindsight, will probably be quite happy with a point, though under the circumstances they would have liked to have done better.
Okay, now those games produced the 5th 1-1 draw in 8 matches. Now, what do you think this tells us about these championships?
I think, as I said earlier, it shows that there's a lot of competition out there, that the teams are on equal level, that you have some excellent players. You really have good players here, and you have players from all the teams who play in some of the top leagues. And I think that makes this competition reasonably strong. And you don't have pushover games. You have draws, and teams also can't go out all crazy and go for 3-0, 4-0 glorious victories. They need to get results, and if a result is a 1-1 draw, it's still a point. I think the other thing is that showed is that teams simply don't give up. You had yesterday the Ivorians down a man, down a goal, came back really strongly. I spoke to the Guinean captain Ivory afterwards, and he told me that had they been a better side, they would have won the game. And he didn't mean better as in a stronger side, but I think a more experienced side is what he meant. That it's a game they shouldn't have given away the point, given away the draw. But I think, again, it shows that the teams are here to play for results.
Okay, let's look closer at the teams now, and then what's your assessment of the teams after the opening round of matches?
I think we've seen some good football. We've seen some good players. I mentioned before the tournament started that I really liked Emilio Nsue of the Cape Verde. He played really well, I thought. There's been others. Yannick Bolasie has been impressive. Some of the goalkeeping, the goalkeeping is generally an African thing, which is often criticized in Africa, but we've had some outstanding performances yesterday. The Mali keeper Soumaïla Diakite, who interestingly enough plays in Iran for Esteghlal, he was pulled off a number of excellent saves, as did his Guinean counterpart in the earlier game. So I think we've seen some good football. The standard of African football, I would say, is reasonably high. Unfortunately, that doesn't match their standard of organization always, which is a pity. But football-wise, I think it's been a good start to a good tournament, hopefully.
Okay, Peter, thank you for talking to Sports News Africa. And of course, we do have more from Peter, but for that, you'll have to go over to our YouTube channel.